What's up, beautiful people? It's your boy Judeo, and I'm back again with a new video. Today we're going to be checking out another interesting one. I believe it's going to be. This one is titled Sam Harris Best Arguments Against Religion Episode 1. This is going to be my first time checking this video out, but it's going to raise a lot of questions. It's going to make some people angry. So if you feel a certain way, like maybe a few minutes into the video, please feel free to click away, or if you want to express yourself, you want to watch it all the way through and then express yourself in the comment section, please feel free to do so. You're allowed to vent and give your opinion. And if I say anything wrong during the duration of this video, please feel free to correct me and check me, as I'm open to all corrections. And without wasting your time, let's get to it.
Well, it's a great honor to be here. It seems to have fallen to me and my colleagues, Christopher and Dan, to argue against God in what I am now told is the most religious state in your nation. I'm encouraged by the show of hands here. I just want to assure those of you who are religious here that our purpose is not to offend you this morning, but I will nevertheless repay your hospitality by telling you exactly what I think about religion. Now, as someone who spent the last 2 years criticizing religious faith, I've become quite familiar with how people of faith rise to the defense of God. As it turns out, there are not 100 ways of doing this. There appear to be just 3. Either you argue that a specific religion is true, or you argue that religion is useful, or you attack atheism as intolerant, elitist, or otherwise corrosive of basic human values. Now, the only line of argument that is relevant to this debate, or indeed any debate about the validity of religion, is an argument that religion is true. Or rather, that one religion is true, because of course they can't all be true. In fact, our opponents here stand for 2 distinct and mutually incompatible faiths. Was Jesus Christ the Messiah? The rabbi and Dinesh are not likely to agree on that point. As Bertrand Russell pointed out over 100 years ago, even if we knew one of the earth's religions was true, perfectly true, given the multiplicity of faiths, given their mutual incompatibility, all believers should expect damnation purely as a matter of probability. Now, happily, there's absolutely no evidence that the Christian hell exists. And I think we should look at...
There's no evidence. It's based on faith. What evidence are you looking for, Sam Harris?
Consequences of believing in this framework, this theistic framework, in this world, and what these moral underpinnings actually would be. All right. 9 million children die every year before they reach the age of 5. Picture an Asian tsunami of the sort we saw in 2004 that killed 250,000 people. One of those every 10 days, killing children only under 5. Okay, it's 24,000 children a day, 1,000 an hour, 17 or so a minute. That means before I can get to the end of this sentence, some few children, very likely, will have died in terror and agony. Okay, think of the parents of these children. Think of the fact that most of these men and women believe in God and are praying at this moment for their children to be spared. And their prayers will not be answered. Okay, but according to Dr. Craig, this is all part of God's plan.
I feel like he might be talking to the wrong theologians. I don't know the Dr. Craig he's referring to, but there are really answers to that. I'm not a pastor, I'm not a theologian, but I know like valid answers to that. I can answer that. Just saying.
Any God who would allow children by the millions to suffer and die in this way, and their parents to grieve in this way, either can do nothing to help them, or doesn't care to. He is therefore either impotent or evil. And worse than that, on Dr. Craig's view...
Let me know what you guys think. Is there any Christian watching? If there's a Christian watching, tell me what you think. I'm sure like Christians, not even, you don't have to be like the best Christian, but an average Christian can probably give answers to these questions. I think so, because there are Bible scriptures that explain things that really detail out. I mean, with regards to this particular point, I'm not saying his entire argument is invalid or something. I'm not against him speaking. I understand what he's saying and where he's coming from.
Most of these people, many of these people certainly, will be going to hell because they're praying to the wrong God. Just think about that. Okay, through no fault of their own, they were born into the wrong culture where they got the wrong theology and they missed the revelation. Okay, there are 1.2 billion people in India at this moment. Most of them are Hindus, most of them therefore polytheists. Okay, in Dr. Craig's universe, no matter how good these people are, they are doomed. If you are praying to the monkey god Hanuman, you are doomed. Okay. You will be tortured in hell for eternity. Now, is there the slightest evidence for this? No. It just says so in Mark 9 and Matthew 13 and Revelation 14.
Oh, he actually reads
Perhaps
the Bible.
you'll remember from the Lord of the Rings, it says when the elves die, they go to Valinor, but they can be reborn in Middle-earth. I say that just as a point of comparison.
Oh my
So
goodness.
God created
Did he just do
the
that?
cultural isolation of the Hindus. Okay? He engineered the circumstance of their deaths in ignorance of revelation. And then he created the penalty for this ignorance, which is an eternity of conscious torment in fire. Beliefs are not like clothing. Okay? Comfort and utility and attractiveness cannot be our conscious criteria for adopting them. To believe a proposition, you have to believe that you have good reasons for believing it. And the effect that this belief will have on your life cannot be among those reasons. And this is what it is to be clouded by bias. This is why we have phrases like wishful thinking and self-deception. To really believe that there is a God is also to believe that you stand in some relation to his existence, such that if he didn't exist, you wouldn't believe in him. How does the supposed usefulness of religion fit into this scheme? It doesn't. So let's return to this question of truth. It's very common for people to say there's no conflict between religion and science because they relate to different subject matters. Okay, this is a lie. Religion and science both make claims about the way the world is. They make incompatible claims about the same reality, and they make these claims based on very different standards of evidence and modes of argument. It should be quite clear that there's a conflict, a perfect conflict.
There have been cases where science and religion actually become coherent. Like there have been cases where some things explained through science have already been explained in the Bible. Yeah, he needs to convince me, convince me. So let me be clear. I'm not trying to argue with him. I'm just throwing words out there, So guys, you can, if I say something and you have answers to what I'm saying in his defense, feel free to let me know. I'm not gonna feel some type of way about it. I'm just trying to bring up a conversation.
Conflict between demanding good evidence for what you believe and being satisfied with bad evidence or no evidence. So religion and science are in conflict because there's no way to disentangle religious and scientific truth claims. The claim that Jesus was born of a virgin, say, it's a central claim to Christianity. It is also a claim about biology. The claim that he rose from the dead and will return to earth is a claim about history. It's a claim about the human survival of death. It's a claim apparently about human flight without the aid of technology. Jews, Christians, and Muslims, while they disagree on many things, all agree that on the day of judgment, every person who has ever lived will be physically resurrected. Just which scientific laws does this violate? One's tempted to say all of them. If the basic...
But we've seen resurrection, like people have died and resurrected, and then they've told their stories of how it was. I've seen videos like that, even on YouTube. You guys can go check it out.
The claims of religion are true. Science is so blind to this underlying reality, and the laws of nature are so susceptible to supernatural modification as to render the whole enterprise of science ridiculous. If, on the other hand, the basic claims of religion are false, most of the people on this planet are profoundly confused about the nature of reality. and beset by quite irrational hopes and fears.
But what if at the end religion is true?
And many people are simply wasting their lives and spreading delusion, often with tragic results. It seems to me no thinking person can be indifferent between the two sides of this dichotomy. Now, it's often imagined that non-believers like myself must be in principle closed to spiritual life. This is not true. You can have a deep spiritual and ethical life without lying to yourself or to your children about the nature of reality, without pretending to know things you do not know. There's nothing that prevents a non-believer from experiencing ecstasy and self-transcending love and rapture and awe. In fact, there's nothing that prevents a non-believer from going into a cave and practicing meditation for a year like a proper mystic. What non-believers don't tend to do is make unjustified and unjustifiable claims about the nature of the cosmos and about the divine origin of certain books on the basis of those experiences. That is a difference worth noticing. So I want to suggest to you that whatever is true about our circumstance, ethically and spiritually, can be discovered now and can be talked about in language compatible with our growing scientific understanding of the world and of the human mind. Whatever discoveries are there to be made about how to maximize human well-being can be talked about in language that is not an outright affront to all that we've come to know in the last 2,000 years. And to subscribe to one of the Iron Age religions, like Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, is to make the tacit claim that that is impossible, that there is, in fact, no way to understand our circumstance using the tools of our modern understanding of the world, that some measure of superstition is necessary, some measure of mythology, that we have to lie just this much. The point is, we can place our confidence only in human conversation. And the question is, do you want to place it in a 21st century conversation where we have all of the world's literature and learning available to us? Or do you want to place it in a
2000
first century conversation?
I knew he was going to say that.
Or a 7th century conversation, as preserved in one of our holy books. Okay, and please notice the double standard that people like Dr.
But the
Craig...
thing with his last point, information technically circles. If you notice what people are saying today, what people would say tomorrow, people had already said it. It's just like people pick up inspiration from what was already said or what was already seen previously, or the topic discussed. People just take inspiration from there and then rephrase or share more light or enlighten that, and then it just keeps circling. I believe information just keeps circling like that. So if you're saying if I would rather take information of now than information of before, it's almost like it's basically on the same fundamentals or the same basics, right?
Used to exonerate God from all this evil. Okay, we're told that God is loving and kind and just and intrinsically good. But when someone like myself points out the rather obvious and compelling evidence that God is cruel and unjust because he visits suffering on innocent people of a scope and scale that would embarrass the most ambitious psychopath, okay, we're told that God is mysterious. Okay, who can understand God's will? Okay, and yet this is precisely this merely human
God's will is consistent with the Bible.
Understanding of God's will is precisely what believers use to establish his goodness in the first place. You know, something good happens to a Christian. He feels some bliss while praying, say, or he sees some positive change in his life, and we're told that God is good. Okay, but when children by the tens of thousands are torn from their parents' arms and drowned, we're told that God is mysterious. Okay, this is how you play tennis without the net. Okay, and I want to suggest to you that it is not only tiresome when otherwise intelligent people speak this way, it is morally reprehensible.
Sam Harris. I feel like he's been around lots of Christians or lots of religious people that rub religion on his face, and he's getting mad and he's decided to speak up. Yeah. So he did raise some points, I believe. So this is a conversation. It's more like a or it was a debate, and in a debate, it's not a thing about arguments or saying this person is talking trash. So all his points are actually valid, and I believe for the most part, he just has questions that have not been answered. So he spoke about Jesus Christ being born of a virgin, which defeats science. I think not in his words, if I'm paraphrasing correctly, he said science is entangled with religion, yet not coherent. So basically, when you say Jesus is born of a virgin, what biological principle is that? Is that he spoke about resurrection too, when Jesus resurrected on the third day? Can humans actually resurrect? So I believe he just had questions. He said, if God is good, then why is he letting children die? So if there's a pastor watching in the comment section, I don't wanna raise questions, because I believe if I answer it, I might not answer it with the best vocabulary and the best references to scriptures. So I would like a pastor to answer that, and maybe we can all learn from somebody who's more knowledgeable than myself. But I believe his points are valid, and his points are just questions that need to be answered. He said, okay, he said something about India having different religion, and there are over 1.3 billion people in India. He said if they don't believe, does it mean they're doomed just because they didn't believe? And God is loving. Those are good questions that need good answers. So if you're a pastor or a theologian or a theologist, feel free to give all those answers. Talk to us in the comment section. And guys, if you're not a Christian or you're not religious, you think there's something you can add to that video to, help religious people be convinced, share it in the comment section as well. Talk to us. Let's have a whole conversation. And that's the end of this one. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you want us to check out some more videos like this, or if you want us to bring more videos from Sam Harris. I see one saying rational thinking versus religion. Basically, he's saying religion is not a rational thinking method from the title. If you want us to check out this one next, let me know in the comment section. But before you go, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you on the next. Have a very wonderful day. Peace.